doesn't like chocolate cake? I love chocolate cake, but this chocolate cake is a little bit different than the one that you're used to. This cake is white cake that has chocolate specks in it. It's like a chocolate chip cookie that has chocolate chip in a white batter. So this cake, you can also use chocolate chip in it, but I choose to use a Belgian dark chocolate that I chop into big chunks and then I grind it in a grinder to make it finer, and that will give me an even taste in the overall every bite of that cake, and it's gonna make it delicious. It's simple and simple ingredients, but great robust flavor. We start with a stick of butter, which is room temperature. We add to it 1.5 cups of sugar. We beat until it's really fluffy and creamy. We add the eggs, 2 eggs, and then alternatively we will be adding the flour, which is 1 3/4 cup, and 1 cup milk. Everything needs to be at room temperature. Alternatively, we add those until we create the perfect batter. We add the vanilla, the ground chocolate, and a cup of walnuts, and voila, the batter is ready. We preheat the oven at 350 to 375, depending on your oven again, and we bake it until it's golden. I'll tell you the exact amount when it's baked. And then we have a great topping that I'll talk about it later. Let's start making the batter. I try to explain before I put on the mixer because it gets noisy and you cannot hear me very well. Let's get started and I'll show you one step at a time as we go. Here I will be adding the butter, room temperature. And the sugar. And I will start beating until it's creamy. At this point, I have the butter is already fluffy and creamy. I'm gonna add the eggs, 1 egg at a time. Mix it in. Second one goes in. I beat until it's really fluffy and creamy. I'm gonna show you. At this time, I will add a little bit of vanilla, about 2 teaspoons. Beat it in. Add the baking powder into the flour, 3 teaspoons. Just mix it in a little bit. And then just start adding the flour first. And alternate with the milk. I do it on 3 times. Finishing with the milk. Make sure you scrape everything on the sides into the center so everything is mixed really evenly and well. One more whiz. That's all it takes. Now I will add the chocolate, which I chopped in my chopper, and the walnuts. And just mix them in. And you have a batter that looks like the chocolate chip dough ice cream. That's how it looks. Now I'm gonna put this in a pre-prepared pan. I buttered it, I floured it, dusted the flour out. I will put it in and I'll pop it into my oven, preheated oven of course, and I'll show it to you when it comes out. While it's baking, we're gonna be making the topping, chocolate topping. This is a 10-inch cake pan that was prepared. I put the batter in it and now I'm gonna be baking it. Hi again. We're gonna be starting to do the sauce. I have 100 grams of heavy cream in this little pan. I'm gonna warm it up. And as soon as it warms up and I start seeing some steam coming up, I will put 3.5 ounces of dark Belgian chocolate in it, and I will mix, turn it off, and then I'm gonna add a tablespoon of honey. It's starting to heat here. I added the chocolates. I will try to bring it closer so you can see. It looks like this, but you keep mixing. You don't need to have it on the heat anymore because the warm heavy cream is gonna melt the chunks of chocolate. Continue mixing and it's gonna get more even and darker as you go. And here you go. Do you see it? How it's chocolate. The honey will give it shine and texture, and it will keep it all together. And now this is ready for the cake. When it comes out and it cools down a little bit, we will be adding this chocolate topping. And if it got cold and it got a little hard, you can just warm it up tiny bit in a bigger pot that has warm water. Just dip this pot in on the edges from the outside and just mix, and it's gonna come back to being soft enough to pour over the cake. We'll wait for the cake and I'll show you how this is done. So it took 45 minutes in the oven and I pulled it out 2-3 minutes ago. This is how it looks. I will pass a knife or a spatula around the edge just to release in case it's stuck there. I also passed a wet towel, called the wet towel, underneath to make the steam condense and release the cake from the bottom. And now I will put the cake on top and flip it, hoping that it's gonna come out. it is really hot still, but I have asbestos fingers, I guess. I will put the cake on top like this, and I will flip it. And now we have the cake ready, but needs to get cooler. I'll put it in the bigger plate here for us to cover it with the cream. We'll wait until it cools, and then we will put the ganache. Time to put the chocolate sauce on the cake. Just pour it randomly like this. And spread it, letting it tear down on the sides. You don't need to cover all the sides. Let some tears drop down naturally. Okay, that's our cake today. Let us cut it and and see the inside. Still warm. It's cooled down, but it's still warm. So it's a little bit tender and crumbly still. When it cools down completely, it's gonna be holding itself a little bit better. Here's the cake. I will bring it closer. That's how it looks. And let's try it. This is my favorite part, trying it. Delicious. I hope you make it and you enjoy it as much as I do.